Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for attending. The purpose of this press conference is to bring everyone up to date on what is happening regarding toll lanes on the 405 freeway and to express concern over some recent developments. Never before has anything of this magnitude been done without local cooperation and local funding. So this is going forward, or appears to be going forward, without any real direction. With me today are elected officials and community leaders from the corridor cities and throughout Orange County. After I make a few comments, I'm going to let each person do self-introductions and make a few comments themselves. A few key points to keep in mind are as follows. A few months ago, the people of Orange County successfully convinced the OCTA, the Orange County Transportation Authority, to go forward with a toll-free alternative on the 405 freeway. Thanks to Measure M, we are able to pay the bulk of the cost, $1.3 billion, to add a free lane in each direction as promised to the voters and taxpayers of Orange County. And if the state were to add in $400 million, we could do 2 lanes in each direction. This is a viable toll-free option. Caltrans now wants a toll lane alternative and is hoping that we use our Measure M funds for toll lanes. Corporate interests and politicians cannot risk the temptation to tax people twice when a more equitable solution exists. The cost for the toll lanes will be as much as $15 per day, and low income and families cannot afford this. As a result, more cars will be forced onto the free lanes, which will make traffic worse. There will also be limited points of entry, so local residents will be unable to access the lanes even if they want to. Once in the lanes, you will not be able to exit or access local business. The bottom line is that we were promised a free lane, and that is what we should deliver. Orange County Measure M funds were never promised for toll lanes. I encourage people to visit the website, keepthe405free.com, and on Facebook, Stop the I-405 Toll Lanes. I'm now going to give other elected officials an opportunity to speak. Thank you so much.
Good morning, my name is Jim Righeimer. I'm the mayor of Costa Mesa. This issue's been very close to Costa Mesa because, quite frankly, in Costa Mesa, we've spent the tens of millions of dollars to widen our freeway that goes through our city. And we're very much impacted because we're at the end of the line here of what has to be expanded. We agreed to tax ourselves a half-cent sales tax to go ahead and pay to have this done. What is wrong with the answer no? How many times do the people of Costa Mesa or the people of Orange County have to say no? This is not about the 405. Caltrans is looking to put toll roads throughout California. This is all about money. This is all about construction. This is all about big dollars out there to get people to pay the money. We just heard from the Assemblyman and talked about, poor people can't afford it. I'm not poor. I can't afford $15 a day to go on a toll lane. That's outrageous. And that's $15 to get up to Long Beach. Well, it'll be another $15 to get up to LAX. The fact of the matter is they're taking money that we voted on to do an extra lane and taking that lane and now turning it into a toll lane. All they have to say is we will allow people with 2 or more in the car to drive free and we're fine. But they're not saying that. What they're saying is we'll get back to you later. But for right now, they're saying they're going to go ahead and add 1 more lane to it. It's going to be a toll lane, and they're not telling you how many is going to be free there. That's $15 a day. We need to keep on fighting this. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Matthew Harper, and I'm the mayor for the city of Huntington Beach, and our city council is 7 strong against the toll lanes on the 405 freeway. First of all, I want to thank and acknowledge Assemblyman Allan Mansoor for being the leader on this issue from the start, and I want to give you applause for really continuing the fight. This really is a fight that's not only here on the local side, along with Supervisor John Moorlach and also the other OCTA director for the 2nd District, Gary Miller. We've been fighting this issue at the OCTA Board of Directors, but really the ultimate fight here is at the state of California. The California State Legislature is going to have the final decision in regards to toll lanes on the 405 freeway or anywhere in the state of California. And so I want to make sure that people know that's one of the key issues that separates between me and my opponent, Keith Carey of Newport Beach. to compete for the 74th Assembly District. He supports the conversion of freeway lanes, the toll lanes on the 405 freeway, and I have been from the start opposed to converting freeway lanes to toll lanes on the 405 freeway. This is a menace. We need to make sure that we don't start this today, because if it starts, then it's a third lane, a fourth lane, until the entire freeway of the 405 becomes a toll road. And that is the real problem that I'm looking at making sure to stop, because if this gets started today, the ultimate consequences are going to be awful for tomorrow.
I'm Gary Miller, City Councilman from Seal Beach, and I'm on the Orange County Transportation Board of Directors. Alternative 3 is not Alternative 1. Alternative 3 has toll lanes, Alternative 1 has no toll lanes. And the environmental footprint is not the same. This is not just a corridor city issue. The people of Mid and South County today would be paying $18 a day to go to and from South County to LA County. This issue, you can look at this today as you see the 91 today. The toll road moves fast. The general purpose lanes move at 8 miles per hour. We need to have this go back to the Board of Directors of OCTA to reevaluate this situation. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Michael Vo, Mayor of Fountain Valley. I want to thank you all, the elected officials and all the concerned citizens who are here today. From day one, the city of Fountain Valley has been opposed toll land on 405. As I'm standing here, I'm thinking about this fight for our future and for our children and grandchildren's future. Join with me to fight for no toll on 405. Thank you.
My name is John Collins. I'm a city council member in the city of Fountain Valley, and I have served on the locally preferred option board, a group of citizens, group of elected officials from local cities in this area. And we've been meeting for a couple of years now with the help of Chris Townsend and putting together a plan. And the plan basically is to represent the local community of Orange County, is to not have toll lanes. We say, okay, put in 2 new lanes. To put in 1 lane and have to move bridges to put in the lane and then put in another lane later probably would not be the wisest thing. But to put in 2 new lanes, maybe another HOV and another general purpose lane, and then take a look at it in 5 or 6 years and see what that's done. Maybe that solves the problem. I don't know. Maybe you have to come back in 5 or 6 years and talk about toll lanes. I don't think so. We want to keep the freeway free.
In 1990, the voters of Orange County, after a couple of unsuccessful attempts, approved Measure M with 54% of the vote. And we decided, since Sacramento was not going to fix our infrastructure, that we would become a self-help county. We have been taxing ourselves all these years with a half-cent sales tax to make freeway and transit improvements. And we've done a pretty good job. So when Measure M was about to expire in 2006, they did some polling and said, what would it take to get the voters to approve Measure M2? Because Measure M2 would now require a 2/3 vote, not a 50% plus 1. So they did some polling and they said, how would you feel about taking care of the toll roads down in South County? And the voters of this county said, we don't want to putz with those toll lanes. We don't want our tax dollars going to prop up the Transportation Corridor Agency. We want our money going to free lanes. Had that been in Proposition M2, it would not have passed because it just barely passed the 2/3 majority vote. So now the taxpayers are given a bait and switch. No mention of toll roads in Measure M. Now the voters should have some choices. Should we go back and say, are you still happy with paying a half-cent sales tax? Do you believe we should have a toll lane? Do you believe we should do something different? Because we should not be paying tribute to Sacramento to the tune of $1.3 billion, only to have it taken away from us by usurping our dollars and adding 4 lanes to the middle of 405, giving us no net relief other than whether you can afford $10 a day. And that doesn't represent very many of my constituents. So we're here to protest what Caltrans is imposing on the residents of Orange County after we've been an amazing partner in moving traffic through this county. Look at our freeways. You know when you hit the LA County border. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Graham-Mejia. I'm the mayor of Los Alamitos, and I'd just like to add to these wonderful comments that have been made by the others. When I first sat on the board, my original meeting, Ryan Chamberlain from Caltrans was in attendance, and he told us in no uncertain terms that if we didn't support the toll lanes at that time, then the cities were probably not going to be receiving any monies from those revenues from the toll lanes. To me, that equates to being a schoolyard bully. I'm going to take your lunch money, and if you argue with me, I'm going to take your allowance also. I think that we need to change the mindset of Caltrans and let them understand that the people who have the decision-making authority are the people in these cities. I just think that local control is extremely important, and I just want to say that I'm extremely honored to be on this board with these people who have fought so hard for much longer than myself. But I would say to the people of Orange County, you're informed, you're intelligent, you're affluent. Stand up and have your voices heard. Don't take this from Caltrans, and don't let them tax you twice when you've already been such a good partner in agreeing to Measure M 2. And the last thing that I'll say is, if they're not going to deal with us honestly, then maybe what we need to do is take action to rescind Measure 2M, which is for 30 years. And I think that's given them a real sense of security that they don't need our approval. And what we would do is rescind that, and maybe if it's a good program, move forward with it in smaller increments. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Diana Carey. I'm councilwoman from the city of Westminster. I represent the 6 corridor cities and Rossmoor, and we've been working on this issue actually since 2005. And I want everyone to know that we have been extremely collaborative. We want a good solution for our freeway. We and the OCTA and the taxpayers need to work together, and to have Caltrans come in and bludgeon us with this is just absolutely unconscionable. One of the things in Measure M2, it requires that there be local outreach. You're supposed to be selecting the locally preferred option. We have had over 200 outreach meetings on this freeway alone. When I asked Ryan Chamberlain of Caltrans, why aren't you doing this from the Orange County line to LAX, he had 5 words for me: we don't have the money. So clearly, this is about piggybacking on what the good people of Orange County have decided to do, as Supervisor Moorlach said, and tax ourselves for transportation improvements. So I would just like to reiterate what Mayor Harper said. Please call your local representatives, because this is going to be absolutely horrendous for our cities. This is not the 91. We hear that all the time. 91, that's the only way through that valley. Here, where are people going to go? It's crowded. We're going to have big rigs and trucks and everybody, on Westminster Boulevard and Catella and our other major streets. So we really need people to have a groundswell to come up, because my final thought would be this: Caltrans may be trying to dictate to us that we have to put tolls on our freeways, but they should not be able to direct the OCTA to spend our tax money to facilitate that. And so I could go on.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ron Casey. I'm a board member on the Rossmoor Community Services District, and I particularly like to thank Allan Mansoor for allowing us this opportunity to state our views of all of us along the whole corridor. And the fact of the matter is that the board of directors in Rossmoor, we voted for Alternative 1 2 years ago. We have held town hall meetings and community rallies to find out what our residents favor. And they overwhelmingly voiced strong opposition to hot lanes. Over 95% of them that we polled did not want that. And as a matter of fact, when the EIS environmental document was delivered around last November, I personally hand carried that document putting it on record at the time. Now Caltrans has made the decision that they're going to take the M2 monies and develop Alternative 1. However, they've also made the comment that in addition to that, they will put toll lanes on the freeway at some time in the future. Now, we applaud their decision to, maintaining the integrity of Measure M. However, what we ask of them is that they officially draft and submit their proposal to the county, the city, and the communities so that we can see precisely what they're doing and where the monies are going. Because the people of our county put up the money, they deserve to know where the monies are going, how they're being spent, and how we will benefit, because we're funding this. And lastly, I just want to add that Rossmoor has a particular interest in not having a whole lot of additional lanes because our western and southern boundaries are at the intersection of the 605 and 405 freeways. So I have a great concern that if we add too many lanes, including a hot lane, that dead ends when we get to the Long Beach area, that we're going to put our community members, our senior citizens, and the school children in the Los Alamitos school system that attend schools, including Hopkinson Elementary, that's about 100 yards from the border of those two freeways. So I've now gone on long enough. I have other thoughts, but I'll let someone else come up. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm Mike Levitt. I'm a city councilman from Seal Beach, and I represent Leisure World. My district includes 9,000 seniors. These are the folks that over the years have learned how to use the Diamond Lane. You want to go shopping in South County, you get a friend, they hop in the car together, and it's free down all the way to South County. Caltrans wants to take that away from us. Caltrans says, you've used that Diamond Lane long enough. Go ahead, with OCTA funding, we'll build another lane, but instead of a Diamond Lane, we're going to convert it to a toll lane. And now that free lane is going to cost $10, $12. If you've looked at the 91, you know it started out relatively cheap, $3, $4, depending on the time of the day. It's $11 now. This can start out, Caltrans can tell you, oh, we'll only start out at $6, $7, depending upon the time. It could go to $12. Nothing's stopping it from going to $15 one way. My seniors cannot afford that. Most of those people are on Social Security. They need to keep the toll lane out and the Diamond Lane in. Please, as you've heard from everyone else here today, it's a matter of the state listening to the county and the county listening to us. Please, keep it at free lanes and Diamond Lanes. Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for coming today. We'll take questions in a moment, but I just want to wrap it up and basically summarize. This is a money grab by the state. There's no real clear direction of the long-term use of our Measure M tax dollars. And so we do not have to enable this. The people of Orange County can speak up and demand accountability that their tax dollars are used as promised when they voted for Measure M. I'm happy to take any questions today and want to thank all the elected officials here today. We stand united in making sure there's accountability to the voters of Orange County. Thank you so much.
Mayor Jim Righeimer is the mayor of Costa Mesa, and we're here on the I-405 and the fact that Caltrans wants to put tollways down the middle of the freeway. I like that, tollways and freeway. I like it. Tell me what you think about Caltrans' efforts.
Well, the problem with the whole situation is that the citizens of Costa Mesa and Orange County agreed to pay an extra sales tax for our roads to widen them and widen the 405. So we're going to go ahead and do that. The issue is not how many lanes is it. The issue is that we're going to pay to remove 17 bridges, which is all the cost. And then Caltrans is going to piggyback on top of the $1.3 billion we spend and turn our HOV lane, our 2 or more lanes to drive up to LA with another person. They're going to turn that into toll lanes. So now we went ahead and paid for it, we put it in, and we actually lose our HOV lane. It turns into a toll lane. That's the problem.
So taxpayers are paying twice?
Well, it's more than twice. I mean, people aren't going to be able to go on it. They'll be paying once because the average person cannot afford $15 a day to go 10 miles on a freeway. They just can't. Nobody in my city can afford that.
Well, and you also look at it, they're going to have express lanes. The express lanes, you're just not going to be able to get on and off except beginning, end, and maybe a place in the middle. Whereas now, anybody that wants to get on in the middle of there in an HOV lane can get on. So tell me how the express lanes impact us.
Well, local businesses. So let's say you're using the HOV lane, you have 2 or more in the car, you're going up and you want to get off at Beach Boulevard or Euclid or Harper, you can get off. What's going to happen now is you're going to have 1 or 2 places or 3 places to get off in that whole stretch all the way up to the 605. So if you're not at an off-ramp and you have a business that's not at one of those off-ramps, you're going to be hurt because people aren't going to be able to get off to go to you. It's going to change traffic patterns.
Okay, so if you had one sentence that you wanted to tell Caltrans what to do, what would you say?
Listen to the people of Orange County. They do not want tollways on their freeways.
Jerry Brown ought to be doing in regards to this?
I don't think Jerry Brown has one clue or really cares about this issue at all.
So even though Caltrans in effect works for him, he's just clueless?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say he's clueless. I just think it's a de minimis issue to him. It's Orange County. It's a 10-mile section of freeway. They really don't care.
It's a shame because you're sitting there with all of the improvements the OCTA has made, and they've made them throughout the county and all the freeways. This is the last freeway section to really get attention.
Really, I mean, if you look at it, look at the city of Costa Mesa. We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars to widen our portion of the freeway. The freeway doesn't back up until we cross the river channel going into Fountain Valley. That's the part that's getting fixed. So here, our citizens set aside our money to fix our freeway. Now we're going to use Measure M to fix the rest of the freeway, which is fine, but now we're going to turn it into a tollway? That's not fair to anybody.
And you're talking about the area around South Coast Plaza that you improved with all the on-ramps and off-ramps.
All the way to the Santa Ana River, it's wider, and it drops 2 lanes as soon as you cross the Santa Ana River.
Well, we thank the Costa Mesa taxpayers for providing that for us.
Well, they go through our city. We use Measure M funds for it also, but we also match with our dollars to do that, doing the off-ramp. So it's the right thing to do, and cities throughout the rest of the county have done it also. So it just needs to be completed for the rest of the county, but it should not be turned into a freeway. I told them.
And what do you think of Orange County Business Council and their advocacy for this?
Listen, they have a different audience than the audience that I have. I have the residents of Costa Mesa, the people that are actually going to pay for it. Their audience is big business. And big business looks at it from 40,000 feet and decides, how can we move more people? How do you calculate it? How does it work out? And there's billions of dollars at stake here of revenues, additional revenues. When this issue first came up, remember what Caltrans said to us? Give us your wish list. And they're kind of buying us off. If you let us do toll lanes, we'll go ahead and let you get a bunch of money to do things in your city. Give you a wish list. They're just trying to buy you off. We said we don't want the money. We don't want the toll lanes. They said they backed away, and they said okay. Now they're coming back saying we want the toll lanes anyway.
All right, thank you. Jim Righeimer, Mayor of Costa Mesa.
Thank you.
In a short sentence, I know it's always tough for a politician. In a short sentence, tell me what you think of Caltrans and what they're trying to do in putting this tollway down the middle of the 405.
Caltrans believes that they know what's best for Orange County, and they believe that a toll road like the 91 express lanes would provide more throughput through the 405. However, we're seeing the 110, which adopted a similar strategy. We're seeing the general purpose lanes go slower. So you may be advantaging people that can afford to pay for the toll, but the rest of the public that cannot is being penalized. And we find that to be inequitable and actually poor planning.
So it's actually counterproductive for what they want to do. They will not get more throughput, and the people that will really suffer are those that can't afford the $15 each way on the tolls.
Which makes it obvious that perhaps it's just a money grab. It's a new way to generate revenues because Measure M2 will also expire sometime in the future. And now you've got a toll lane which would generate revenues in perpetuity, sort of like the Golden Gate Bridge, which still collects a toll. And it becomes a money source, which is what Sacramento's looking for. They're always looking for more money to deal with the infrastructure.
Including no guarantee that that would actually be reused in Orange County and on our freeways, even though it'd be coming from Orange County use.
Basically, that's correct. Orange County is a donor county. We supplant, we support just about every other county because we are the second highest income tax generator in the state.
It's not just because we're all nice guys?
We're a powerful 800 square mile County. We have some incredible businesses and individuals that put us in second place out of 58 counties in generating revenues to the state, but yet we're treated like we're some second cousin with disrespect. And maybe we just need to sometimes stand up and yell and say, wait a second, we're chipping in. You should be giving us more deference.
Yeah, explain that in briefly on the whole concept of self-help and what Orange County does. I know when you're driving down, and everybody in Orange County can relate to this, you're driving down, you hit the LA County line, and it goes from 12 lanes down to 6. What's the whole concept behind that?
We're what's called a self-help county. We voted to tax ourselves a half-cent sales tax. LA County did the same, but LA County said we're going to focus on trains. We're going to build a blue line and a red line, and Orange County said we're going to focus more of our money on lanes. We're going to build the Y so it's more accommodating where the 405 and the 5 meet. We're going to expand the 5 freeway all the way up to the LA border. We're going to improve the Garden Grove freeway. We're going to widen the 55 and the 57. And now we're finally getting to the 405, and all of a sudden Caltrans now says, oh, we need to put a toll lane in the middle of the 405. It never said it for the 5, the 90, 91's already got it at one part, but for the rest of the 91, the 5, the 57, the 55. So it's sort of, where does this come from other than it's a money grab?
So a money grab, and it's also, they're kind of looking at it as a bargain, right? Because the taxpayers are going to pay to widen all these bridges, which is the major expense to the 405 improvements, $1.3 billion, and they can come in and drop a single lane in for $100 million.
Actually, in 2006, the 405 widening was stalled, and so I worked with the cities, including Westminster, and said, what can we do to get one lane through? We worked with engineers, and at the end of the day, we were able to find right away to add 2 lanes on both sides of the freeway. And it was agreed to by the corridor cities. All of a sudden, at the end of the day, they say, well, we really need to put a toll lane in to finance all the lanes. Well, when we started melting down the finances, we realized we had $1.3 billion, which would add all the freeway, all the bridge widenings in the 1 lane. And if we wanted to add 2 lanes, in other words, make sure the cement trucks poured their concrete all at once instead of 2 different trips to build the 2 lanes on both sides, it was only $100 million more. We could find that by just eliminating the braided off-ramps in Fountain Valley. That was $75 million. We could find the $100 million in a snap. But we've just been playing hide the pea with the taxpayers, and it's just been disingenuous. So we should be building 4 lanes, see how it works, finish the West County corridors, enjoy the carpooling fly over to the 605, and then let's monitor how traffic is flowing and then start talking about other alternatives instead of doing the most draconian and imposing on us at the very onset.
So you say we build all 4 lanes now, OCTA would do that, not with tolls, not with Caltrans, and then you would postpone some of the more, say, provocative or elaborate off-ramp designs and use that money instead to put that extra 2 lanes of pavement down at the same time as the other 2.
Correct.
We're here with Assemblyman Allan Mansoor, who represents the 74th Assembly District, which is right along the I-405 corridor. And today he was telling us about how Caltrans is basically coming in, stepping in, and taking over and wanting to impose a toll lane down the middle of the 405 freeway. Allan, tell us what Caltrans move and what it really is and what they're doing.
They obviously want toll lanes. They've clearly said that, but it's a money grab. They're not really telling us what their long-range plans are, and they want to use Measure M money to probably put in the initial infrastructure, get us to widen the bridges, and they can turn around later down the road, no pun intended, and convert a free lane into a toll lane or add another toll lane, which really is going to result in no net gain in free lanes to the taxpayer. And that's what people were promised through Measure M. A free lane in each direction. We could do that right now with Measure M. The cost would be $1.3 billion. Measure M would cover it. For $400 million more, they could put in another free lane, so 2 free lanes in each direction without toll lanes. And who can afford toll lanes? Seniors can't afford it. Most people cannot afford it.
So when you say it's a money grab, are they setting up where they want to get these tolls in perpetuity and they just want to take it from Orange County taxpayers after the Orange County taxpayers pay for the freeway?
That's what it seems like to me. If that wasn't the case, they would clearly tell us how long they're going to collect them for. At least Measure M has a sunset date. We know what the money's going to be going for, or at least we know what we were told it's going to be going for, and we need to be accountable to the voters. But these tolls are in perpetuity. They don't go away. And if they are going to go away, they should at least tell us what their long-term plans are to do so.
Now, are they going to borrow the money and build this extra 2 lanes of freeway and then use their tolls to pay it back, or are they expecting us to do that?
They should pay it back if they're going to use our money, but we don't have to enable them. We don't have to give them our money. So that's the point. We need a long-term plan. We need a long-term commitment before they just, piecemeal this together.
Well, it seems ironic that all these freeways around Orange County have been improved, and this is, it's virtually the last segment that hasn't been built yet, and it's right through your district. It's right through the 2nd Supervisorial District, and Allan's a candidate for supervisor. And now all of a sudden they want to change the program and how they do it. It doesn't seem right.
That's right. We need to have some accountability, return to the taxpayers.
I'm here with Diana Carey. She's a councilwoman from the city of Westminster, and of course she's out here fighting that tollway on the middle of the 405 freeway. Diana, why are you against it?
I'm against it for a number of reasons. The first one, which I think is so important, is that it really violates the intent of Measure M. When the voters passed Measure M, it says 150 times about HOV lanes. It says 0 about tolls. And as was stated in the press conference, when tolls were included, it would never have been reauthorized. And the specific alternative for our freeway here was to add 1 lane in each direction. It wasn't to add 1 lane and then take another lane away. Right now, so the people understand, we have 5 free lanes. So you add 1 lane, you have 6 lanes. But if you add 1 lane, but you take the other lane away, you have the same number of lanes.
Same 5 lanes.
Now, the same thing. They're all, so that is one of the things. And the other two is that is very concerning to all of us is, as I stated, we're not the 91. People will have options. They will be getting off the freeway. They'll be on Westminster Boulevard. We're going to have huge truck traffic because we are a truck route, through the county. And Westminster Boulevard, you can drive from the Port of Los Angeles to Tustin. So, we're very, very concerned about those issues, and we're concerned the way it was planned and presented to us. Our local communities aren't even going to be able to access this. So
Caltrans is, I heard it called a bait and switch. Is that what Caltrans did to us?
Well, absolutely, it's a bait and switch.
Now, who's Caltrans? Why are they doing this?
What money? I mean, they say they're not, but obviously they are. I mean, which is what John Moorlach spoke to. We are trying to finance our own transportation system, and they're coming in now, and they want to usurp that money, so that they can use it other places and that type of thing. So it is a bait and switch. It's a bait and switch on the number of free lanes you get, and it's a bait and switch on what was originally promised.
Explain the whole concept of the express lanes and how that's going to affect the corridor cities.
Well, the way they have it planned right now, they're going to take the existing HOV lane, and then they're going to add another hot lane to it, and the OCTA's plan was to run that as a delineated system. Delineation is like what they have on the 91 with the little, separation.
So you basically wouldn't be able to get in and out except the beginning and the end.
And they have added 2 places. One is at Westminster and one is clear down at Magnolia. It completely bypasses Huntington Beach. So, the people in Westminster would either have to go back because we're very long, or, they'd have to drive way down to even, to even get on it. And then if you happened to be on it and then you wanted to get off to go to, say, our auto dealerships, which by the way are all on Beach Boulevard, I mean, you couldn't do that. So, our chambers of commerce all along the corridor are very much against this. Now, the OCBC, they're the big dog. They think this is really great, but then they're not having to deal with the impacts on the local communities.
OCBC, Orange County Business Council.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
And they're really big. They want toll lanes. They figure any lane they can get, they want. It's good for business, but it really isn't good for the corridor's business.
It's not good for the corridor's business. And, Caltrans always says, matter of fact, in the paper the other day, they said, well, transportation, we can override the local governments and we can override the county. We want to improve transportation overall. This doesn't improve transportation overall 1 iota. I mean, how can you say that when you come up to the county line and you go from 6 lanes to 4 lanes or 8 lanes to 4 lanes? I mean, that when you improve transportation, you should improve it for everybody and not just the people that can afford it, that can drive in the hot lanes.
So if you had 1 phrase, let's say, let's shorten it down, that you wanted to send to the Caltrans bureaucrats, what would it be?
I'd say back off, or you've got me off the top of my head. I would say that I don't have a short phrase for that, really. But they need to let the local, they need to honor the spirit of Measure M, and this doesn't do that.
Keep your hands out of our pockets.
Keep your hands out of our pockets, yes.